Hello, hi there. So recently I've been thinking a lot about what kind of travel I'm going to be doing in the near future. And the answer is right now, I don't know. Right now, my husband and I are just kind of living day to day and trying to be present in the now. We're kind of just living loose, for lack of a better term. Which brings me to today's video. Bagsmart reached out and offered to send me a few of their latest travel bags, and I happily accepted. Bagsmart was one of the first brands that caught my eye years ago, like back in 2020, when I was on the hunt for some new travel gear for when that time came when I would finally be able to travel again. Since then, I've kept up with their releases, and I feel like their brand ethos has only gotten stronger over time, and no surprise, the products have gotten cooler too. So I am very excited to have 3 bags from Bagsmart to share with you today. I've got the Blast 28 liter to 38 liter expandable carry-on travel backpack, the Paz 23 liter work backpack, and the Getaway 20-inch expandable carry-on. I'll be going over each of these bags in detail, telling you all about the features, everything you need to know. Then I'll be packing each bag as part of a kind of wild card trip packing methodology. This is kind of a fancy way of saying that I don't know exactly what kind of trip I'm packing for, but I want to be ready for a variety of situations. This sort of imaginary what-if spontaneity is really all the excitement that I have in my life right now. So I'm going to latch on and see where it leads me. As always, if you enjoy videos about packing light and carry-on only travel, then please consider subscribing and hitting the thumbs up button below. And now let's have a look at the bags Bagsmart has for us. The first bag that I have here is the Getaway 20-inch expandable carry-on in the color Sky. In my opinion, suitcases are one of those things that ideally you buy a good one and then you use it for years to come. It's not like a purse where you switch it out every time. You want to just pick one that really works with your style of travel and your aesthetic and just use it for years. For me, my suitcase is my home away from home when I'm traveling, so I really like to make sure that I enjoy the suitcase that I'm using, and so it'll just be my trusted travel companion for many trips. You may think that all suitcases are pretty much the same, with looks being the only difference. And yes, suitcases share a common set of characteristics, and many may appear to be similar, but I'm telling you, just the smallest details can make the biggest difference when you are far from home and trying to navigate around and be as comfortable as possible. I'm going to go over this Getaway 20-inch carry-on from top to bottom and pointing out all of the features so you can decide if this is the carry-on for your travels. So as it says in the name, this is the 20-inch carry-on, and that means that the packable space between the top and bottom, so like the body of the suitcase, is 20 inches. That 20 inches does not include the wheels. That adds a little bit extra. The total height of the suitcase is 21.7 inches, the width is 13.8 inches, and the depth is 9.8 inches. These dimensions are approximately within the widely accepted carry-on dimensions for most domestic US airlines, which is 22 inches by 14 inches by 9 inches. But generally, in my experience, on most respectable airlines, as long as your carry-on is not widely oversized, you'll be fine. This carry-on is also expandable, which is a nice feature to have just in case. I will never recommend utilizing the expansion feature when you're packing for your departure, but it can be handy on your return trip if you shopped a lot or if you just purchased something a little bit bulky. However, be mindful that using the expansion feature does increase the depth of the suitcase to 11.4 inches, which does push it into checked bag territory. Not saying that I've never seen an expanded carry-on in the cabin, but it might be risky. For me, I personally like using the expansion zipper as somewhat of a compression feature. It makes it easier to close the suitcase when it's at capacity without having to sit on it. But if you do choose to sit on it, then that's fine too, because the shell of the suitcase is 100% polycarbonate, not any of those weird poly blends. Polycarbonate is the top tier material used in hard shell suitcases where weight is a consideration. The empty weight of this carry-on is 8.2 pounds, which is middle of the road in comparison to other similar hardshell carry-ons. But you have to remember, features and quality components do add weight, so just because an option isn't the lightest, it doesn't mean it doesn't make up for it in other areas. Unexpanded, the carry-on has a capacity of 40 liters, and expanded, the capacity increases to 48 liters. Right now, this carry-on comes in 5 colors. This beautiful sky blue that I have here. It also comes in a pink, gray, navy, and cream. Personally, I am partial to this blue because I just think it looks the most harmonious with the Bagsmart logo. In terms of design features, this bag also has these horizontal grooves with this kind of a half circle design here. It's hard to see on camera, but I promise it's there. I'm not exactly sure what it's referencing, but I feel like it has to be inspired by something. If anybody knows, please tell me in the comments. Overall, it just has this really cute retro vibe, especially with the color match wheels. The color match wheels are just the cutest touch. I think it's just a fun departure from some of the somewhat stuffy and dull choices that have been popular in the suitcase market. Speaking of the wheels, you have the double caster wheel style, which gives the wheels extra durability and a smoother ride over rough surfaces. The wheels are also rubberized. They're like tiny tires. Bagsmart actually details the wheel components on their website, and there's like a tiny strut in there. It's adorable. But just in practical terms, they roll and rotate very smoothly. They don't make noise. What more can you ask for from suitcase wheels? You also have a TSA lock on the side here, along with a grab handle. On the top of the suitcase, there is another grab handle. These low-profile plastic handles are lightly textured, giving you some extra grip, especially if the handles get wet, and it's just a nice soft touch feel. The extendable trolley handle offers 4 different height adjustments, and it feels comparable to the majority of suitcase handles. Now let's have a look inside the carry-on. On the back side of the carry-on, which is the handle side, you have a compression pad with mesh zipped pockets for flat items. The compression pad is removable, and the adjustable straps work with or without the compression pad included. Because of the expansion feature, this side of the suitcase is about an inch deeper, which I feel is a smart design choice because when combined with the compression pad, this is the perfect place to store your overpacked fat packing cubes and do whatever you need to do to smush them down. This is kind of a rant off topic, but I will never understand those people that insist that the trunk style suitcase opening is better and they'll never use a clamshell again. Like, isn't that just a regression back to the old school fabric rollers of the 2000s that opened with just like a flap top? Clamshells make it so easy to open it up and see everything that you've packed, and it's just very easy to get things in and out without like doing one of these. Yes, clamshells may take up some floor space, but whatever floor space is not occupied by a trunk style suitcase will be occupied by all of the things you have to take out in order to get to the things at the bottom. Team clamshells. Okay. On the front of the suitcase, you have a fully enclosed compartment to store larger items, and you also have 2 smaller zippered compartments on the panel. These 2 pockets have built-in volume, which will help you take advantage of the space between the 2 halves when you close the suitcase. On one side, you have a transparent waterproof pocket, and the other side is an opaque fabric pocket. It's a good spot for any small, discreet items that you may have. This fabric lining is honestly one of the most luxurious of all the suitcases I've personally felt. It's lined with a thick, water and stain resistant nylon material that seems like it will hold up to anything. This interior has just enough organization to keep your small items organized, but it's not overdone. In my opinion, your suitcase is not the place to be packing small, loose items, or at least not too many of them. But inevitably, there will always be some random things that end up in there, and it's nice to have a few places to store them. And that is the Getaway 20-inch carry-on. tag along, I will be packing up my personal item in this Paz 23-liter work backpack. I have never seen a backpack quite like this one. It's actually set up in a way that is convenient to use as a work bag, but it also has the luggage pass-through in the back, which to me always indicates that a bag is travel ready. I have the bag in the color Grulo. Sorry if I'm butchering that. I'm not sure what Grulo is referring to, but it's a nice neutral beige shade that is light enough to basically just be different from the sea of dark bags, but it's not so light that it will show a ton of dirt. I feel like this color will be easy to keep clean and will disguise just a lot of the general wear and tear and dirt that comes with being a bag. This bag is made from a water-resistant nylon material, which is sewn into this kind of puffy comforter texture using a cotton batting. I think it feels very nice. As it says in the name, this bag has a volume of 23 liters. It's just roomy enough to carry everything that I need, all of the necessities, but it's difficult to go overboard in a bag this size and pack beyond the limits. So the dimensions of this bag are 17 inches tall, 12 inches wide, and 5 inches deep. Of course, that depends on how you pack it. In terms of branding, there is just one visible logo on the outside, right here at the bottom. The lettering isn't super bold, so from far away, it kind of just looks like a black patch. It's good if you aren't a fan of highly prominent branding. And this one just kind of blends in with the rest of the contrasting details. In terms of carry options, this bag is obviously a backpack with these padded backpack straps. These feel nicely padded and they're pretty wide, which will help to distribute the weight and make carrying heavier loads more comfortable. They also have this mesh lining on the straps and just across the entire back of the backpack, and this just helps with breathability when you're wearing the backpack. And as I mentioned before, there is a simple luggage pass-through here. This one has a good amount of space, so it seems like getting it on and off your suitcase in practice shouldn't be too difficult. I've used some bags where the luggage pass-through is just so tight that it's essentially unusable when the bag is fully packed out, but hopefully it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case here. The last carry option is tote style using these top grab handles. These handles are made of a really comfortable seatbelt-like material, and they have a nice drop length, which makes it really easy to get your hand in there and just pick it up. Sometimes you just don't want to sling the bag over your shoulder, even though it's a backpack, and I've noticed this is kind of a weak point of a lot of backpacks. There's only one tiny top handle on the bag, and it's not centered. So the bag feels like just really unbalanced and cumbersome if you try to hold it that way. And so it's uncomfortable, and in practice, like the only way to carry one of those backpacks is on your back. That's just a long way of saying that I appreciate when backpacks offer alternative carry options, because in all honesty, sometimes backpacks attract unwanted attention, and I like avoiding attention. So now let's talk about organization. On the front of the bag, there are two quick access pockets. One is very obvious, one not so much. The first one features this asymmetrical zipper with a ring zipper pull. I think these rings are nice additions because if you wanted to hang something from the zipper pull, you could. This isn't going to be the most scientific way of doing this, but this pocket is about 7 inches deep on the shallow end and about 9.5 inches deep on the deep end. There is also a little key leash in this pocket, so if you want to attach your keys, maybe a card holder, anything, you have that here. Behind this pocket, you have another zipper that is somewhat hidden behind this flap. You could tuck the zipper in to disguise this pocket even more if you wanted to. This pocket is about 7.5 inches deep. It's always just nice to have a variety of pockets that are within easy reach for things like your lip balm, hand sanitizer, things that you don't want to be really rummaging in the bag for. On either side of the bag, you have two water bottle holders, one on each side. They're both the same. They aren't the biggest, so I don't think they would fit the hugest of water bottles, but they are the perfect size for a disposable bottle if you happen to grab one on the go. I do care about aesthetics with my bags, so honestly, I prefer when the water bottle holders aren't so big and out there, even if it means I have to put my water bottle inside the bag. So like I said, you can fit a smaller water bottle in here, but more than likely this is a place where I would probably store my power bank if I was connected to it on the go. One last hidden pocket on the back. I just love these pockets. I feel like a spy when I put things in these pockets. We all know what these pockets are for: wallet, passport, phone, things like that. Anything that you really don't want pickpocketed. This is a sizable pocket. It's about 7.5 inches deep, so you could actually fit a lot more than just a passport in there. The main compartment of the bag opens like a traditional backpack half zip style. There are various organizational components on both the front and back of the backpack, and of course the bucket of space in the middle for bulkier items. I love a clamshell backpack, but sometimes it's nice to just be able to rip open the backpack knowing that things are contained down at the bottom and nothing will spill everywhere when you open the bag a bit too wide. So on the back side of the bag, we have this lightly padded laptop sleeve. This laptop sleeve holds up to a 15.6-inch laptop, and it's secured with this Velcro elastic strap. This strap is quite long, so if you wanted to store something bulkier in this compartment, the strap would probably still be able to accommodate it. Also note, this is something that some people do like to know about, but the laptop sleeve is not suspended off of the bottom of the bag, which means that your laptop will hit the ground if you just like throw it in there, or if you set the bag down hard on a surface. So just keep that in mind. On the laptop sleeve, there are 2 pen slots, 1 simple slip pocket, and 1 meshed elasticated slip pocket. Then turning the bag around, there are 2 mesh pockets here behind 1 zipper. These 2 pockets are completely separate. They are sewn down in the middle, so whatever you put in each pocket will stay in place and the items won't mix, but they just have 1 zipper that opens both pockets. I also want to point out that there is a small logo tag here at the top that is secured on the sides but not in the middle, so it's just open. This is probably not the intended use of this tag, but anytime I see a place where I can possibly like attach things with a carabiner, I always take full advantage. So I wouldn't use this to hang something really heavy, but maybe like a keychain, something that you don't want to just fall down into the bag. I just like doing that. I would probably use this to attach something. So like I said before, I'm going to be packing this bag up as my personal item. What's nice about this backpack is the size can double as a day pack while you're on your trip without being overly large and weighing you down all day. So let's see how far I can stretch these 23 liters. And that is the Bagsmart Paz 23 liter work backpack. carry-on suitcase and the personal item backpack, for me, that is a whole packing setup. But there are times where I don't want to carry so much, like I don't want to carry a whole 2 items, and for those trips, just a single backpack is the way to go. If I'm going on like a weekend trip, maybe 3 days or less, I generally don't feel the need to pack the entire setup unless I have a specific reason why I need to. And for those trips, a backpack like this Blast backpack is exactly what I need. This travel backpack is the best of both worlds because it is expandable from 28 liters up to 38 liters. What does this mean in practice? In general, 28 liters is about the max size that is acceptable as a personal item, at least visually. And by comparison, 38 liters is just under 40 liters, which is the capacity of the average carry-on suitcase. So that means this backpack can work as a personal item when that's what you need, but it can also work as a carry-on and have almost the same capacity as a whole suitcase when you need it to. The dimensions of this bag when it is unexpanded are 16.5 inches tall, 12.2 inches wide, and 8.1 inches deep. Keep in mind, I think I mentioned this in the last segment, but these are the dimensions when the bag is packed modestly. It is definitely possible to pack the bag far beyond these dimensions. When expanded, the dimensions become 16.5 inches tall, 12.2 inches wide, and 10 inches deep. Like the Paz backpack, the Blast backpack is made out of a similar water-resistant nylon. The website says that this bag is machine washable, which is curious because the Paz says spot clean only. Regardless though, I probably wouldn't recommend putting your entire backpack in the washing machine. Just between you and me, I've had some frightful outcomes when I've gotten a little bit too brave using the washing machine, so now I am very careful with what I put in there. The empty weight of this bag is about 2 pounds, which is very light for a feature-filled backpack. There's a lot to talk about with this backpack because there's just so much going on, so I'm going to start with what I call the carry features. Obviously, this is a backpack, so we have the backpack straps. They are padded, but they're not excessively padded where they feel overly bulky and stiff. That has happened. They are also quite wide, like the Paz backpack, so they will help to distribute heavier loads across your shoulders and just be more comfortable. On the straps, we do have this adjustable sternum strap. These sternum straps actually help a lot. I used to not believe in them, but once I started using them, I understood the magic. It's kind of hard to explain, but I feel like it kind of brings some of the load forward and puts it on your sternum, so the weight isn't like pulling your shoulders backwards so much. I don't know. I don't know the science behind it, but I think it's a lot more comfortable when you have a heavy load. Like the Paz backpack, the back panel is fully lined with the breathable mesh to help with your comfort while you're wearing the backpack. And you also have this simple trolley strap that you can slide onto your carry-on while you're going through the airport. Another feature that helps you manage the load are these 4 compression straps. You have one on top and one on the bottom, 2 on each side. These can help to compress the bag down a little bit when you want it to look a little bit smaller when it's really stuffed, but tightening them up can also help the bag look less saggy when it's not fully packed out. This one in particular that's above the water bottle holder is particularly useful because it can be used to help you secure any items, any taller items that you have in there besides a water bottle. You also have 2 grab handles, one on the top and one on the side. I especially like that these grab handles are centered on the top and on the side, and that helps the bag to feel balanced when you're carrying it in your hand, whether you're carrying it, this way or this way. I'm saying a lot of the same things as I did when I was talking about the Paz backpack, but I really can't stand when backpacks feel lopsided or just out of balance when you're carrying them in your hand, so that is also not a problem with this backpack. It's the attention to detail that really improves the user experience, and those centered handles are one of those things. Another just little attention to detail are all of these paracord pulls that are attached to each one of the zippers. Tiny zippers are annoying. They're hard to find, they're hard to grip. Having zipper pulls included just makes things easier, and we like that. Finally, we have just this minimal branding patch on the front of the backpack. It's nice and subtle, which I appreciate because I just don't like large contrasting logos. Of course, this black patch will stand out more on the lighter colors of the bags, but on this navy blue colorway, it's almost invisible. It blends right in. Now getting into the quick access organization. On the front of the backpack, we have two pockets, one vertical and one horizontal. You can use them both, or you can use just one at a time, but keep in mind that they do share space. I like that it gives you options depending on how you like to use the bag. I used to fall into the trap of feeling like I had to use every single pocket, but you really don't. Like, don't force yourself to put something in every single pocket. Just use the pockets that work for you and don't use the ones that don't work for you. But it is nice to have options. On one side of the backpack, this is specifically the left side when you are wearing the backpack, you have a water bottle holder. This water bottle holder is lightly elasticated and it sits flush to the side of the bag when not in use. It's not the biggest and most cleverly designed water bottle holder that I've ever seen, and it probably won't fit the hugest of water bottles, but it works for me with what I usually like to put in water bottle holders, which is my umbrella and maybe a disposable water bottle. On the opposite side, so your right side, when you're wearing the backpack, there is this kind of hidden side pocket. It's not super stealthy, but it's definitely not the most obvious pocket either. I never really know what to put in these side pockets. Actually, when I had a backpack for the first time that had one of these, I put my phone in there and then I forgot I put my phone in there and I was panicking. I'm like, oh my gosh, where's my phone? And it was in this side pocket. So ever since then, I'm honestly a little bit afraid of these side pockets and I don't use them often. All of those other side pockets are nice, but it's really this top compartment that is the star of the show. This compartment spans the entire width of the backpack and opens up like a trash can lid to give you quick access to all of the junk that you want to store in there. Just kidding. It's all important stuff, okay? On the top here, you have a mesh zippered pocket to store small, loose items that you just don't want floating around. And even with items in this zippered compartment, this space here is quite spacious. So if you wanted to, for instance, place a pouch full of airplane essentials in here, you totally could, and it would be very easy to just quickly unzip this section and grab your essentials out if this bag was under the seat in front of you. Finally, for outside access, on the bottom of the bag, we have this shoe compartment with the metal grommets for breathability. You don't have to use this for shoes, of course. I pretty much never do. You can use it for anything that you just don't want getting all stuffy in the main compartment, or just anything that you want a little bit more separation, such as your sweater, maybe your lunch if it's not too fragile. And one more pocket to note is the security pocket hidden in the back panel. Great place to store your passport or your wallet or just anything that you want to keep protected. Moving over to the laptop compartment. This back flap opens up completely flat 180 degrees. So you can basically set up your mobile office in here and work out of it, which I think is awesome. Also, the fact that you can open up the laptop compartment from any side combined with the side carry handle means that in theory you could carry the bag like a briefcase, especially if maybe you just need to be able to get some folders in and out quickly. If you do open the laptop compartment from the side, you can rest assured that your laptop will be secure in this padded laptop sleeve. Again, padded, holds up to a 15.6-inch laptop, elastic strap secured with a Velcro. This laptop sleeve also includes a separate tablet sleeve. Could use it for an iPad, but if you're like me and really don't travel with more than one device, if any, also a good place for notebook, planner, keyboard, that sort of thing. And then again, same with the Paz, laptop sleeve is not suspended, so just be careful when you're packing up in a hurry. On the opposite side, you have two just simple elasticated mesh slip pockets. These are a great size for things like a mouse or a small notebook, some pens, chargers. The only thing, I would avoid putting anything too bulky in these pockets so that it doesn't put pressure on your laptop. Finally, moving over to the main compartment, it is quite simple overall, and I like that. This duffel style opening is what drew me to this backpack in the first place. I've had several clamshell style opening backpacks, and while I enjoy how easy it is to just fully open the bag and see everything inside, the problem with them is that sometimes they aren't so great at keeping everything contained inside the bag when when it's fully open, and things just spill out easily, especially when the compartment is fully stuffed. This duffel style opening still gives you a wide space to work with, so you can easily get in there and stack things inside, but then later you can open up the top and rifle to your heart's content, knowing that everything will stay contained. On the top flap here, we just have a plastic lined zippered compartment. It is fully lined on both sides. It doesn't have a ton of volume, so I probably wouldn't put anything too bulky in here, but in a pinch, if you need to put just some wet toiletries, maybe a wet bathing suit, some laundry, it would be a good place for that. On the inside of the bag, we have these X-shaped compression straps that are actually quite long. They are adjustable, so you actually can adjust them to tether things down even if the compartment isn't completely full. The only other thing I want to mention in this compartment is, it's kind of hard to see, but there is a flap down here at the bottom in the lining with the opening facing the bottom of the bag, the shoe compartment. I'm not sure the exact reason for this, but I can assume it's a place to tuck in the shoe bag if it's not in use. I think one of the main complaints from me and probably people in general is sometimes the shoe compartment can get a little bit annoying, like just having this bag floating around in the bag. It can be a little bit in the way if you aren't planning on using it. And I've seen quite a few different contraptions to help you try to contain it, but I feel like this is probably the best option. Like, it tucks in there very cleanly. When I first opened the bag, for you to look in there, you probably didn't even notice it was there. So personally, I think this is a great way to contain the shoe bag that is kind of a controversial feature. Other than that, it's just a nice, spacious bucket of space for you to pack all of your larger, bulkier items. So what I'm gonna do now is a little bit of a challenge. So I've gathered up here all of the items that I would want to take with me if I was doing one bag travel. So I don't know if all of this is gonna fit, but I'm going to pack up as many items as possible in this backpack as if I could only pack one bag. I don't do this very often in real life. I almost never do one bag travel in real life, especially personal item only. So we're gonna see how this goes. And if all of this doesn't fit, then I guess I'm not as much of a minimalist as I thought I was. So first, what I'm gonna do is pack up as many items as possible in the backpack without using the expansion. And then maybe if I need to use the expansion or if I want to put a few more things in there, I guess we'll see. But I'm going to try to not use the expansion and see just what I can fit in there. I haven't rehearsed this, so we're going to see how this goes. So if I was doing one bag travel, I would definitely need to pare it down to one packing cube of clothing. So I'm going to put that in there first. Yeah. I have the shoe bag kind of rolled up down here at the bottom. I don't think I'll be using that. It's just not how I usually like to pack. So yeah, I'm gonna put my clothing cube in there first. I know with one bag travel, often you don't get space for a second pair of shoes, but I'm gonna try. So I have my shoes here and I'm gonna just kind of stick them up here. Hopefully, if a lot of things don't fit, then probably the shoes will be the first to go. But for now, I'm gonna keep them in there. While we're on the topic of shoes, I'm gonna stick my slippers in there. These are non-negotiable. So that can go there. So this is my underwear cube. If I really needed to, I could put everything, including underwear, in one packing cube, but I wanna see if I could. But I just want to see if I can have a separate underwear cube and have one cube that's fully just like wardrobe items. So I'm just going to stick this here. Darn, actually the backpack is expanded right now. So I'm going to just really quickly unexpand it. What is the word? How have I forgotten the word for unexpand? Okay, let's compress the backpack so that I'm not cheating here. And yeah, we'll try to unexpand it again later. So back in the main compartment, it's not completely stuffed yet. I definitely still do have some space. So For toiletries, if I was doing one bag travel, I wouldn't bring my whole toiletry bag and makeup bag. There's just no space for that. So this is actually my just like EDC emergency kit, and there's actually enough toiletries and makeup in here that if I was traveling for 2 or 3 nights, I have enough in here. Like I couldn't just make do with the amount of makeup, and there's basic toiletries and whatever else I need, I can always get at my destination. So there is enough to get me through for a couple of days in here. So I'm just going to condense it down to this. Okay, so I've gotten pretty good at Tetrising items over the years, but it's still, it's an art. Yeah, it's an art more than a science. You just get used to like shoving things in there. Okay. This is my electronics. See, these are things like I could separate them out and put them into the smaller pockets. I don't know if I want to do that though. Like I prefer to just keep it together. Let's keep this on the side. So I have my purse here. I think I am gonna have to take out the items that I have in here. So my scrunchie belt and this fabric tie, those are kind of those are really non-essential. So I'm just gonna kind of roll up this purse and shove it in there. This, I would need an extra purse because obviously I can't walk around with this backpack. So that needs to be in there. Small items. Okay, my towel. I feel like, so I only have space for one, really. I can pack my towel or I can pack my electronics. Let's see. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna pack the towel, and then I will break up the electronics and just put them in pockets wherever they fit. So that can just go down there. And then while I'm in here, I'm actually gonna put my sunglasses and stick them right there because I don't usually access those in transit very much. So those can just kind of hang out there. So I think that is going to be it for the main compartment. Oh yeah, I forgot to use a compression strap. So I can let's see. I'm gonna tighten that down there. And I feel like that's good. Like we're doing good. We're doing I think this is good. I feel like we're doing very well for not having used the compression. So on the exterior, let's get that out of the way. I am going to pack my iPad because I have this, you know what? I forgot my rain jacket. Just a sec. Okay, so the rain jacket needs to fit in there somewhere. So I like putting the rain jacket in these laptop compartments just because it's so floppy and it gets unfolded so easily and it kind of drives me crazy. So I'm putting the rain jacket in the laptop compartment, and there is actually a tablet sleeve in this backpack. So I'm going to use the tablet sleeve and put my iPad in there. And then there are also these smaller pockets here, but sometimes putting things in these pockets makes things a little bulky, and I don't want anything pressing up against my iPad. So I think I'm going to leave this as is for now. And I'm going to zip this up. Okay, now for this top compartment, I'm going to put some of my quick grab items. So in this top compartment, I think I'm gonna put some of my like small cosmetic items. So I've got things like a powder and mirror and a lip balm. Just put those there. An emergency hair tie and nail file. Those can go there. Chapstick. A hand sanitizer and a perfume oil. I know these are technically liquids, but I've never had a problem with a few small random liquids in the US, so I'm just gonna keep them there. And if they say something, then I'll move them. But it's always technically been fine. This, I don't think I need this. This is just a case that I usually keep my cosmetic things in, but it's not really an essential item. So I think I'm not gonna have that. I'm also, I think, yeah, I'm gonna stick my jewelry up in this pocket too. This is actually quite a spacious. A lot of stuff is going in there. You know what? I guess while I'm at it, I'm just gonna stick my AirPods in there too. And you know what? Maybe not the AirPods. Okay, so let's keep that to cosmetics, but and the lipstick. So yeah, there we go. All the cosmetics are together in there. And then in this just top area, I'll just keep my AirPods there. I have my 2 wallets. One of them is like extra cards and cash, and then this one sticks to the back of my phone. So I'll just keep those here. And then my keys, I wouldn't usually travel with the car key, but it's just what I have right now. So I'm just gonna stick my keys there. I think it's, you know, in general, most people will have keys. So that is the top compartment. Then in these I have 2 front compartments here. They're not really tight, but they're not like super spacious with the bag being so packed out. So I think I'm just gonna stick my pen in one of them. This is my little first aid kit. I just have like some pills and some band-aids, wipes, panty liners, things like that. So this I do like to keep handy. I'm just gonna stick this right here. You know, I guess I'll put this here. And then I think I am going to have to kind of break up my electronics kit. Honestly, I probably don't need everything that's in here anyway. I probably don't need this fan. So note of that. So what do I really need in here? This brick. This universal charging block, I pack this even if I'm not traveling internationally because it just has a lot of USBs and it can just charge a lot of things using only one outlet. So that's good to have regardless of where you're traveling. This is an extra lightning cable. The other one that I have in my other kit is the USB-A, and this one's a USB-C. I just like having them both. Power bank. Can't go anywhere without the power bank. And the rest of these things I think are duplicates. So I think the electronics kit is not going to make the cut. So this thing is so bulky. Like sometimes I hate this thing. It's just so bulky. But I feel like it's kind of non-negotiable. So I think I'm gonna just stick that there. Yeah. And then I'll take my power bank and my extra lightning cable and just put them in the front there. Then the last item is my packable tote. Where can this go? This backpack is getting quite large. So I have my empty water bottle. This is also one of those things that sometimes it makes the cut and sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't make the cut, then I will just buy one. Like honestly, sometimes it's just not worth the hassle of trying to pack it. So that will go last. I have my little umbrella, so that can go there. And then I think, so I have the secret pocket as well. It's usually meant for passports or valuables. I probably would put my passport in there, but my passport is not with me right now. I mean, it's somewhere, but I don't want to get it out for this video. So I'm just gonna put my reusable tote and just stick that in there, and it shouldn't add too much bulk. Sometimes the things that are placed in these back pockets can kind of dig into your back, and it can be uncomfortable. So I try not to put bulky things, and just really, I only use this pocket if I really feel like I should use it. So before I forget to mention, there is this extra like side pocket here. I often don't use these pockets just because I don't know what to put in them, but it is there if you like to use it. I think I'm not going to do the water bottle. And then the last thing would be my hat that I always just hang off the side, because I feel like any little hack that you can think of that you can cheat just a little bit, you should do it. And hanging a hat off the side of the backpack is, you know, it's just one less item that needs to be in the backpack, and it doesn't attract a lot of attention. Like hanging your hiking boots off the side of your bag may, you know, attract some attention because they're kind of bulky, but a hat has never attracted attention. So I feel like you're pretty safe hanging a hat off of the exterior of your backpack so that you don't have to shove it inside. And yeah, it's pretty full. Should I weigh it? I'm not sure. I'm not sure where my scale is. I seem to have lost it, but it's pretty heavy. Typically when I pack a completely full backpack, it ends up being 17-ish pounds. So this is probably in that range. For reference, 7 kilograms, which is the limit for a lot of, you know, budget airlines, if there is a weight limit, is roughly 15 pounds. It's a little bit over 15 pounds. So technically this pack probably would not make it if you needed to be under 7 kilograms. So, you know, keep that in mind. This is not a great packing demo if you need to fit under those types of restrictions. But my goal with this was just to show you as much as possible what can fit in the bag. So yeah, it's quite large. This is what it looks like. I will put it on in a little bit. Let's zip this up. Yeah, it fits a lot of stuff. It fit actually more than I was expecting. I was fully, especially being unexpanded. So with it expanded, it can get quite large and it can fit a lot of stuff. So if you're unrestricted by weight or like, you know, specific size, then you could totally go for a long time with a backpack this size. Yeah, this is a great backpack. I mean, it's a great backpack for travel, but I feel like because of the laptop sleeve and the duffel style opening, it's gonna be a great kind of multi-use backpack. I have some other travel backpacks that are really like travel backpacks, and the layout, while it works well for traveling, is kind of awkward for every day. And actually my husband is using one of those said backpacks for his work bag right now. So this is actually going to be my husband's new work bag once I am done with it here. The duffel style opening is just a lot easier for every day. He can put he doesn't carry a laptop, but he does carry a folder and like some papers. So that can go in the laptop sleeve and it'll keep those things straight and he can get them in and out easily. It'll be a lot easier for him to get his lunch in and out with this duffel style opening rather than what he's working with now. And then probably, like, if he needs a personal item, this bag will probably be his new personal item too. So thank you to Bagsmart for my husband's new work bag. If you know me, you know I'm all about versatility. And this is just an excellent backpack that I think is great for many different types of situations. This is actually going to go on to a new life as my husband's new work backpack when I'm done with it here. It just has all of the features that seem to fit his carry style when he goes into the office. And I'm thinking all of the smartly designed compartments will encourage him to find a home for each item so that he doesn't lose anything because he forgot it at home, and everything has a home, basically. I think that's the biggest indicator of a bag that really works for you. You get to know it so well that you automatically just know where each item is, and you can immediately tell if something's missing, and that is what I strive for. If you're interested in any of the bags from Bagsmart shown in this video, Bagsmart has given me a 10% discount code to share with my viewers, and you can find that in the description box below. But honestly, all of these bags are super well priced even without the discount code. These bags are all just so well thought out, and I think they're a great value for your money. But honestly, I mean, you know, discounts always welcome. Thanks again to Bagsmart for sending over these items, and I hope everyone enjoys these bags as much as I do. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure you're subscribed to my channel and hit the thumbs up button. That is all for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!
Now that I'm